on something that is a little bit more tangible. So Joe Montana came out and did an interview where he was discussing his feelings about what the 49ers should do around the starting QB situation. And he is stating that from people that he's talked to on the team and maybe the staff and his personal beliefs, he feels like Trey Lance is not ready to start, or people on the team are telling him that Trey Lance isn't ready to start. He believes that the 49ers should re-sign or stay with Jimmy Garoppolo till Trey Lance is ready, or they find somebody better that's ready to start. Is there any truth, do you feel, to the GOAT of the 49ers stating that players are telling him on the team that Trey Lance isn't ready? Are the 49ers not sold on Trey Lance starting this season?
No, I'm not going to say he's a liar. I probably would be willing to bet that is what he's hearing from maybe some players, maybe a coach or two. And then my rebuttal would be, no, duh. He hasn't played a season yet. He hasn't done anything. What do you expect? So this is the thing that's so stupid. So now it wasn't the point of him sitting, everyone who made that advocate, and even Montana was that. And now he's going to, because he's hearing it, and now he's doubling down even more and continuing his point. Oh, now they should bring him back. Like, wait, you said a year sitting was going to be good for him, and they should do this. But now now we want him to sit again because he's not. When is it? What does Trey Lance wear? If not now, then when? When are we going to stop putting not even the training wheels on this guy? When are we going to stop putting him in the freezer? And it's so frustrating over and over again. Does anyone notice how Joe Montana and Steve Young are going at each other subliminally through Trey Lance? Their thoughts through Trey Lance. They said, one says he should start weeks ago. The other one says, no, keep him on the bench. Like, it's literally because Joe Montana, it feels like he's in Jimmy Garoppolo's point where it's, oh God, I'm having PTSD where the young stud overthrows me. But it's pretty pathetic almost this point. Now, I don't think it's like I said, let's say I believe him, which I lean towards it. It doesn't really matter to me or not. If he's saying teammates are saying like, oh, I don't know if he's ready to lead this playoff team and stuff like that, and it's like, no one is. That's why you go out there and you figure it out. Get that wear and tear in your tires, get some experience, take those punches in, get jumped a little bit, get a little rugged, get a little dirty. And you should be able to figure it out. Kyle Shanahan and your coaches to help you figure it out. So by that time comes, now you're ready. That was the whole point where I don't know if I think you might have been on it too about Trey Lance starting. Why I was saying, hey, the first half of the season, it's probably going to be rough. You know what? It is going to be rough. Maybe even 3 quarters, but you'll never know unless you play him.
Right.
And at least in theory, you hope by the second half of the season, he's picking up steam. Those same errant throws he would make and the mistakes he would do in the first half of the season aren't the same in the second half. Which, already with Garoppolo, you already know what you're going to get. He is the top reason why they lost against the Rams, because he left so much on the table. So as much as 49ers aren't sold on him, yeah, they're not sold on him because they haven't seen him. He hasn't played. Even if he doesn't in practice, it doesn't matter.
Right. And I mean, you've seen, because I put something up on Twitter talking about his game in Houston, right? He had nearly 70% completions, 250 yards passing, over 30 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns and a interception in a must win, right? If we lose to Houston, that would have put playoffs in jeopardy. So for him to come in such a very high pressure type situation as far as the team's future on the line, and see from, I guess, how do you put it? Like the growth from his Arizona start to the Houston start, he made strides. So I was with you. I thought he should have started from week 1 just because we knew what Jimmy was going to get. Hey, the Jimmy experiment worked out. His trade value has risen. The team still was, very close to making the Super Bowl this year. So hats off to Lynch and Shanahan for sticking with that plan. But what are we talking about now? I mean, the plan was play him for a year, trade him, and then you go with the young bucks so that you could build a Super Bowl roster around him. So I don't understand why these rumors are there. I don't understand why there's still talk about maybe bringing somebody in or even bringing Jimmy back. But it's a lot of people, Jose. So what do you think it is? Is there any smoke to it coming from the team? Or is this just Jimmy fandom spewing this?
I don't know about Jimmy fandom. I think it's just not like I don't know about it. Of course, we all know about it. We see it every day, and it's pretty ridiculous. No, how I see it, let's say if the players were saying it, like say, I don't know, a handful of them, a couple starters or some depth players, whatever it may be. I think, and I think because it would actually make sense if a player said that on the team because they see a guy, they're the same thing. Like Kyle Shanahan, they're more living in the now. They're not thinking like future wise at all. The only thing they think future wise is when it comes to their contracts, and even if they did know how to handle that they wouldn't. That's why they have agents to figure it out.
Mhm.
So they're living in the now. They don't project. They can't see the future or anticipate it or have theorized like that, like how most of us can. Like, oh, if we sit him now, we'll watch him blossom. Like, we'll plant this little seed and we'll see him grow into a tree. Like the players don't see that right now. They don't. And as much as they'll understand it and contemplate it, maybe because the temptation, especially being there, knowing that we were just got here with Jimmy and we could just run it back again. But it's like, no. They'll never throw him under the bus. This is funny, which, I think Deebo Samuel kind of did this morning, yesterday when he was on First Take, when Stephen asked him, why'd you guys lose? And he was like, they forced us to throw. That's an indictment in itself. How many times are we going to keep pointing it out,
Right.
So at this point, this is where the one time, okay, this is why the players don't have decisions. Thank God don't have a say. And and teams, anytime they give players any authority, it looks bad. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, he's crying about he wants more power. And it's like, all right, it's not like your team's still pretty good. Or even like your hometown, the team you're in right now, the Lakers. That's why they're in shambles. They're looking LeBron take all the picks.
We're not talking about that. Bro. This is not. This is not that show. All right,
they're gonna say what they want, man. That's great. But here's the point. Where I'll finish off is they're gonna have to give it to Trey. If you're not replacing him with someone that's like a GOAT status, like a Tom Brady, then it's Trey's team. It doesn't matter if they're not sold on him, and that's why he's gonna have to prove it. He's gonna have to go out there and give him the belief, and that's where you hope where that year where he sat that he'll be expedited. He'll look more polished and refined as a starter, more of an adequate starter, capable starter early on, and will have less rough going. So if he does that, then that's when, and especially if they're close games, battles, then that's when the team will all of a sudden be like, all right, he's ready. So there's too much living in the moment off that high of we just went to the NFC Championship with Jimmy. Jimmy's been here for years. Trey, we love him, but so it all comes with time, pretty much earning your stripes.
For sure. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Man in the Arena. I saw the first episode just
I have not, but I heard it's sick.
Yesterday. Yeah, so the first episode, Jose, is talking about, the second year that Tom Brady was on the New England Patriots. Drew Bledsoe had just signed a $100 million contract. So he was the starter, and then Drew Bledsoe obviously gets injured in that game, in that season. Tom Brady steps in, and it's not like he blows the team away with his performance, but he keeps them in at least competing. And then when it came back to when Drew Bledsoe was healthy again, Bill Belichick had made the decision that we're just going to keep going with Tom Brady just because he just felt like that would give the team the best chance to win. And then obviously he never relinquished that starting job. But you never get a chance to earn the team's respect, like you said, until you're actually on there battling with them on the field. And this team has only really battled with Jimmy Garoppolo. So, and some of these players have seen a lot of success, right? In the last 3 years, they've been to 2 NFC championship games, been to a Super Bowl. So I can understand where there's players that feel like, hey, I battled with this guy. And it seems like Jimmy is a great leader. He's great with the teammates. He obviously has a lot of class and character just with the way he's handled himself in a very, very challenging position with the 49ers, who tend to seem to always look for an upgrade at quarterback every offseason. So I think a lot of players really buy into Jimmy. So I can understand where Joe Montana maybe has heard this for a couple of players. And then he's kind of making it a bigger deal because it's coming. He's giving that validation from being the best quarterback the 49ers have ever had, one of the greatest in the game, and stating that he doesn't believe Trey Lance is ready either. But somebody tweeted this, and I wish I had the tweet readily because I could give them credit because it's a really amazing tweet. He talked about the similarities between this situation and the Joe Montana, Steve Young situation, down to the T, where Joe Montana wore number 16. Half of that is 8, which is what Steve Young wore, right? Jimmy Garoppolo wore 10. Half of that is 5, which is the number that Trey Lance uses. Joe Montana was in the pocket type of, quick throws. Didn't really move the ball necessarily down the field, but he was threw the ball necessarily down the field all the time, even though he could more than Jimmy can, but very quick throw, slant, stuff like that, just like Jimmy. Steve Young, more mobile, stronger arm, more athletic, Played the game, quarterback game, a lot different. Wasn't always in the pocket like Joe Montana. Trey Lance, mobile, athletic, strong arm, doesn't play the game just in the pocket, just like Joe Montana. So like you said, Joe Montana is having these flashbacks, like he's Jimmy Garoppolo. It sounds all the way down to the T, from the number to the style of play, all that kind of stuff. Very, very similar. Kind of eerie, right, Jose?
It's pretty funny, actually. That's why I think he's such an advocate of why he keeps doubling down. He's just so petty still. You know, especially when you get in your old age, it feels like older people get more pettier. And I'm speaking from like family standpoint. So, so I mean, yeah. So it's just funny to me, and it's funny that you brought it up. It's like, oh yeah, the numbers, how that's in half with Joe Montana and Steve Young. Another comparison, you always heard like, oh, the Niners want this to be a Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith scenario. As much as they want that to be, it feels more so like, even though it's not in the right order, because Kaepernick took over early mid-season. Mm-hmm. This is more like Alex Smith and Kaepernick to me, where you had one quarterback who you were capable of reaching to the doorstep of the Super Bowl, or even to the Super Bowl we did with, but you're not able to, ultimately finalize it, seal it, or even go farther and execute. Now you have a quarterback who is taking you to those further heights that you want. So you don't have 11 plays where receivers are open for first down or manageable situations to sustain drives, so that's something that they were looking for. And that's why they ended up making that pick. So it's just, again, you just got to earn it by playing. And once he starts showing out and they're winning games, then they'll change their tune. They're all still living in the moment and they're just seeing it. They're not really projecting.
Right. I mean, I think it's great that Joe Montana is doing it, because all I think it'll do is increase the trade value for Jimmy Garoppolo. If you have, a four-time Super Bowl winning quarterback like Joe Montana saying the 49ers should still keep him, well, maybe Pittsburgh's like, well, if Joe Montana says it, maybe we should go after him.
We're not saying that. I don't give a damn what Joe Montana says. And I can
you never know. Hey, all it takes is one, Jose. All it takes is one person in somebody's front office that's like, yo, Joe Montana is saying that Jimmy Garoppolo should be the 49er starter. We should go after him if they're not sold on him, right? That's all it
sounds like
takes,
something
man.
that Trent Baalke would